For a few moments before I introduce our featured speakers tonight, I'd like to say a few words myself about what we're facing and how this event may be able to help. The name of this conference is Building Ecological Security, and many people are going to be talking about ecology in the next day and a half. But for a few minutes, I'd like to consider another word, security. What does that word mean? A feeling of safety or certainty, freedom from anxiety or doubt. That's what dictionaries say if you look it up. And using those definitions, does anyone really feel secure anymore? But the only thing that's certain today is that we live in deeply insecure times. And not long ago, Americans, at least, were secure about a few things. Our form of government was the best ever devised, we claimed, with total confidence. Our society was the most advanced, we said. Our way of life, the most desirable and progressive. But I think most of those certainties are gone now. Our political and social systems, we see now, have serious, serious flaws. And worse yet, they seem to breed corruption. Our society can't even meet the most basic needs of many people for shelter, for food, for health, and our way of life. In truth, it could be the single largest factor in the violent disruption of nature all over the planet. We are no longer secure. Even the richest among us, the very few for whom capitalism still works, will admit that the price of our domination and our wasting of nature may be too high for anyone to pay. We may be coming to the end of all certainty and security about our existence on this planet. And this change dwarfs almost every previous event in human history. We can't avoid living with the consequences of that now. We are certainly no longer secure. The very idea of nature as something independent of human will, with its own rules, may become obsolete. Even most of the proposed solutions we hear these days don't look to the restoration of nature and natural balance. What they focus on is global management, new forms of manipulation to compensate for the older forms that got us into the mess in the first place. Our scientists are working very hard to find ways of surviving in a greenhouse world. The popular approach is to take control of the planet. 2 years ago, the first genetically altered bacteria was released into the environment in a California strawberry field. The object was to prevent crop losses due to frost damage. Many more such experiments will soon follow. Researchers are busily creating new species in the ultimate hope of turning every living thing on Earth to our advantage. For several hundred years, we believed that nature was nothing more than a complex mechanism. You've heard that, I'm sure. A machine whose secrets someday we would unlock. And we humans were the lords of nature. We thought we were destined to control this cosmic factory. We extended our search into the very heart of matter, the atom, and we smashed it. But then we finally saw that we were wrong. Atoms aren't solid after all. Nature is not merely a machine, and the universe cannot be divided and dissected without the gravest of consequences. The desire for endless material advancement, the basis of our addiction to growth, has made it impossible for us, at least up till now, to set limits, to stop dominating nature to suit ourselves. But that's what we have to do. Each of us, and all of us together, we have to transform our way of life. We have to consume less, drive less, buy less. We must turn away from accumulation and towards sustainability. And we can't shift the burden anymore to others, and particularly onto the less developed countries. They didn't create the problem, we did. And we've delayed the consequences by raping the third world in the guise of progress. Now, the old approaches, clever management and competition, inventions and invasions and engineering, will leave us nothing with a deadened and artificial world. If we want to save the planet, we have to turn quickly from the mechanical to the creative, from domination of nature and human beings to cooperation with both nature and with one another. The time has come to decide. We can continue to adapt nature to suit ourselves, or we can change ourselves. And even if we do all we can, it's going to take decades for the climate to readjust itself. If we restrain growth and individual consumption, the process will be slow. And along the way, there will always be temptations to manage in the form of biotechnology, for example, other clever plans. These will all continue. But if we resist, if we defy the people who would manage nature into extinction instead of defying nature itself, maybe we'll find a way eventually back to harmony and cooperation and this ecological security we've lost.